Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, good morning, wherever you are, good night, wherever you are in the world, eh? Wherever you are in the world, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it, but how are we, Therapy Army? Let's be having you. Our Tommy's here. Our Tommy. Tommy, what's the surname of that fella that wants to buy Man United?
Zliakas.
No, silly ass. His name is Tommy Silly Ass. So it's not that one. It's our own Tommy. It's United Real Therapy's own Tommy. It's not that Tommy Silly Ass. It's not that one. It's the United Real Therapy Tommy. Tommy, how are you? You all right, lad?
Yeah. Listen, everybody, we're all good and everything, and obviously, got a good show and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, let's go. Let's have a good show, man. We've just done the Straight Jacket podcast, people. So make sure you follow that up where we got into it, people. Got into it. But we've got a jam-packed show for you today on United Real Therapy. It's the only way we do it, people. We only know how to do jam-packed shows. We don't do by halves. Big up Saeed. Saeed,
big up.
Lovely sunny Ramadan Mubarak. It's Ramadan. Man. We're all fasting. We're here, Saeed. We're here. We're having it. We're having it.
You know what? I'm enjoying it, man. It's been a good Ramadan. Obviously, I've been back in the day when it was like in the summer and that. It was very, very tough, man. Getting thirsty and whatnot, and getting tight.
Easy peasy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's smooth. The transition is smooth. You know when they say the transition football, it's smooth. It's no.
Basically, Saeed has mastered that transitional play.
Yeah.
Since he did the Great Escape from Paris. Mate. I'm telling you now, for years to come, I want to see that film. Saeed's Great Escape from Paris, mate. The Paris escape, mate.
Paris is overrated, man. I can't lie, man. I didn't right, man. Paris is overrated. The food is... Bro, 30 euros for breakfast, man. What is that, man, Nordin, man? 30 euros for breakfast. Like, the traveling. The amount of travel... I didn't know Paris was that big, man. The amount of traveling you got to do just to go from place to place is crazy, man. And like, it bins everywhere. It's not good luck, man. Apart from the Eiffel Tower.
Listen, Saeed walked into a revolution and I warned him. People. I warned him. I said, Saeed, you're lucky you came back with your head, mate. And people used to refer to Saeed as King Saeed, mate. I was like, don't let them hear that. Some people refer to you as King Saeed.
I was like, Monsieur Adam. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Saeed was just like, au revoir. Saeed was like, oui. Saeed walked into a tear gas, expensive cheese, like cheesecakes, expensive sandwiches, expensive everything, mate. I'm telling you. So it is what it is. But listen, welcome to United Real Therapy, people. Yeah. We're going to just get through because we've got so many different topics to get through today, genuinely. And I want to get through this before Saeed has got to go and open his fast. So let's crack on with this quickly, yeah? Let's crack on. So I'm going to go a lot of the things to say. So Saeed, this show today, I called it Miguel Delaney war with pro Man United Qatari fan base. What is it all about? We're going to be quickly talking about the Greenwood update, news update, and then we're going to be talking about discussing the Rashford as well. So before I start, by the way, 9 o'clock, Saeed's got a video coming out where he addresses the update article by Laurie Whitwell from on Mason Greenwood and the culture and the history since Fergie left Man United, what's been happening at this football club. So go and check that out at 9 o'clock. We just done the Straight Jacket podcast, so go and check that out. We went through, actually, it was painful. Saeed got me today. He got me. It was painful. I had to let go some of my favourite players, mate. I've had to say, Tara.
Yeah,
we went through
it's
the
sad,
squad.
Man. It's sad. People are buying all them lot.
Listen, some of my favourite. Yeah. We've had to let go, mate. For me, the biggest rule is if you ain't fit, see you later. Because Man United want to go places, man. We want to compete for big trophies, and we can't be. You go be unfit and play every 3 games, every 4 months, play twice or 3 times. We're done with this. We're done with that. So let's get into it. Miguel Delaney, Saeed, is somebody who I respected and somebody that I've referenced.
Yeah,
I've referenced you multiple times. One of the only journalists with integrity, because he literally, while the rest of them suck up to the Glazers, literally bootlicking, rest of the Samuel Racers-Luckhurst and the rest of them, all bootlickers, and what Neil Ashton has been doing with everybody else. He was the one that actually stayed true and would tell the full story. not just half of the story, but the full story of what the Glazers and how the history of the Glazer and Man United and their ownership. He's somebody who's recently seen, somebody sent me the clip, and you also talked to me about it. We talked about it a little bit on the Straight Jacket podcast last Sunday.
Did you see that quote, the video, by the way?
I saw the video. I saw the video where he literally, now he's, this hatred of the Qataris, right, is literally eating him up. Like the Incredible Hulk. The Qatari mania is eating him up. So he basically loses it. When he came out, Saeed, with words that I never thought any journalist with integrity like him would ever come out with.
That's what he knows.
He basically said, the Glazers have been good owners. And to me, that's why I said everything I've ever said about Miguel Delaney, I've stepped up for Miguel Delaney. That's where, like that, where we've parted, literally, where we've parted. Now,
have you not been blocked by him yet, Nuruddin? Have you not been blocked?
Listen, I'm not even blocked.
Nuruddin does that, Eddie Murphy.
I think his block list as long as his followers at this moment in time.
Exactly, Tom. We're going to come into that. I just want to set the scene for the therapy. I mean, big up Prasanna, by the way. Prasanna is my twin brother, innit? Twin brother, artificial intelligence online, innit? Always. He says, Nuruddin, when you go for Brentford and Everton, you can scream Deadwood FC. Someone filmed the C. Ten Hag's reaction in the tactical area. Hey, it is what it is. Listen, so I'll come to it, and I'll say this, Saeed. I'll come to it. Big up Alfie as well, Kennedy, buddy. I'll be going to some of your quotes, so big up to you, brother. Big up to everybody. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed. I think we're 120 or 110 away from 7,000, so we can do it till the end of the match, people. Let's go. Big up our Claire, the queen of the chat. The queen of the chat. She's here. She's there. She's everywhere. She's our Claire, and she's keep the manners. Make sure you all not misbehaving in the chat. That's how she does it. She runs a tight ship, if you know our Claire. She runs tight ship. And if you mess about, you get told, you get warned, you get the yellow card. So let's get into it. So Miguel Delaney basically come out. Literally, his hatred of the Qataris, of Sheikh Jassim, has eaten him up. And he's literally come out and said that Glazers are good owners. And that's where me and him parted. That's where him and majority of Man United fans who want Qatar to take over Man United have parted ways. Like Tommy said, my guy's got more blocks. The guy sat there from when he wakes up in the morning till he goes to bed with that block button. Block.
But that's what shows he's rattled, isn't it? He's almost like he knows he's wrong in what he's saying, Nuruddin. That's why. When you start blocking people, and when it is, anything that's been said, he's blocking now. And it's like anything that goes against him. So he's almost built this kind of ego in his head that he's right with everything that he's trying to say. So anything you do say about it, you're blocked.
He doesn't believe his own hype, that's why, Saeed. And
I'm surprised he didn't block me.
Well, it's funny you say that anyway, Saeed, about like blocking people and everything. He's happy to go on Sky Sports and all these different platforms and preach to the wider sort of football community, but whenever a Man United fan engages with him on Twitter, and they do it in a civilized way, they don't attack him or anything, or use abusive or offensive language to him. And he says, "Oh, come and join a Man United Twitter space, and we'll discuss it." Other journalists do it. Your boy Ben Jacobs does it many times, Said, where he runs space and everything. Tom McDonald does it. Another sports journalist as well. Loads of us do it, where they just invite fans on and they have that engagement with supporters. If Miguel Delaney did that, maybe people would have more respect for him. But he'd been offered that many times, and you know what the plain answer is, saying? No, because I don't believe in hatred against the British state and all this rubbish. But Qatar fund probably the bank account that you use, Miguel Delaney and Barclays. Do me a favour, but go on, Syed.
No, I was just saying, because I remember when he tweeted something about, there's going to be a big protest outside Old Trafford and whatnot. And I said, there was no protest, so why are you lying to the people? You know what I mean? About there's a protest. So I remember I replied to him, and then he kind of obviously I don't think he replied back, but that was from Amnesty, but he said a group of Man United fans, but he didn't mention that it was a group of Amnesty. They can be United fans. I'm not disputing that, but he should have said that first instead of making it out that all Man United fans are against the Qataris, or say the match-going fans, a certain section of match-going fans are against the Qatari. That's where I didn't like the misinterpretation of his reporting. So, yeah, man, I just think for me, Miguel Delaney, I've always found him a bit, he's got the truth, but it's sometimes extremism, Nuruddin, of where he kind of seeks the truth. I'm really not being a fan of that.
No, he's
Yeah,
lost the plot now. He's
become a bit.
totally lost the plot.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen,
Well,
I'm telling you, he's literally what we say, el plotto, el loso.
yeah.
Because partly we're bigging up to his heritage. He's partly Spanish, partly Irish, right?
Yeah.
And to me, I say it like they would say it down in Malaga, like, you know, the typical Brits abroad. El plotto, el loso, Miguel. That's what I'll say. You've lost the plot. Honestly, his total head's gone, Saeed. His head's gone. His head's gone, right? Ted says there before. Ted goes, I've never even said anything or replied, but he's blocked me. He goes, just found out I'm blocked. Not even commented on a tweet.
Oh, God.
So, you know, when somebody does that, like Tom said, right? It is that. When somebody says that, Tom, like, why would you not get in the space and explain where you... To me, the way he's writing these articles, and I'm like, Miguel Delaney, where were you when the city take over? Where were you when Saudi Arabia took over? Where have you been, lad? So why is it? And he goes, the crown jewels of British football. The crown jewels of British football. I'm like, no. So for me, it's just like holding Man United to another standard. It's like, how is that objective as you as a journalist? Why are you holding man? It's like, honestly, it's like the FA.
Do you know the Independent, the newspaper? It's funded by Saudi Arabia and Russians in the state of it all. Same thing when it kicked off with Abramovich at Chelsea.
Exactly.
It was quiet as a mouse over the whole oligarch and connections to the Russian state in that sort of saga. Yeah. He didn't hardly report on any of it.
But Tom, I'll take you
goes
there.
To the point.
But Tom, I'll take you there. And Saeed, I've said to Saeed, I've heard me say this. I've always said, why do you think I always used to wear Chelsea? Because Chelsea was a state-owned club. It was a Russian state-owned club. I'm sorry. Why is the British government getting them to sell if it wasn't a state-owned club? It was soft power. So Russian oligarchs, Putin's friends, can rinse the money, the Russian people's money they've stolen, and wash it at London banks. Everybody knows this. It's not secret. So for me, he never said anything about that. But all of a sudden, he's losing his head. I don't know what happened. I think he went on holiday back in the Middle East, and I think a camel stood on his toe.
But the thing is, though, he used to write reports about the Glazers, though, and that's what you kind of liked about him. His in-depth reporting about the Glazers and their bad ownership and what they've gone wrong. And then we saw him as a kind of a
reliable guy and integrity.
Integrity. But then to kind of say what he said there, and then kind of almost. It just takes away everything. It's just like, who are you then, really? What are you reporting then? Are you a reporter? You're not being impartial. You're not conveying the truth. You're not, you're not being there as a news outlet, as a journalist. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. So for me, you can't take him seriously now. And now he's on Sky Sports every minute now, though. So
as people call Nuruddin, you're negative.
Yeah,
you're negative.
Yeah. Listen, at the end of the day, for me, it's simple. It's become personal. Tom will tell you as a journalist, and quickly, Tom, I'll ask you the question. As a journalist, you can't make it personal. You have to report the objectives, and give both accounts. But to me, all of that's gone now. He has a real hatred. I'm like, are you a Liverpool fan or something? Are you really devastated and hurt that if United were bought by Qataris, that's it, it's over? To a club that's got so much history and won everything. We've won it all. We've seen it, we've won it all. It won't be because of Qatari we're winning. It's because we're winning the Glazers damage that they've done to us. So as a journalist, Tom, you never get personal, do you? It's all about what you're reporting, what you're investigating. Exactly.
Of course it is. Like you just said there, Nurdin, where you touched, you banged the nail on the head where you said about you've got to report from both sides. Look, yeah, I can say one thing about Qatar with the human rights abuses in their country and everything like that. But I know many of my colleagues and friends who went to Qatar during the World Cup and everything. They were treated like royalty. And it's not a case of showing, one side for one another. But that's their culture and that's their beliefs. And ultimately, the religion overall in terms of the Middle East. But you look at that. You go over to their country, they don't expect you to wear their attire or their religious, clothing or even share their religious beliefs. They invite you in, as if you're one of their own. Same thing when they come to the United Kingdom. They don't come here in their, religious clothing or, try and, if you like, preach religion to you. or what their rules are and dictators in their country say, they come to your country, they'll come in shorts, a t-shirt, and some flip-flops, and they'll be like a proper Britishman. That's what they do ultimately. And overall, we look at it from both sides. You can sling human rights and everything at Qatar, but you can also sling, a new stadium, new infrastructure, investment to the women's team, all these different factors. So there's the two cases for that. Sir Jim, all I'm hearing with Sir Jim is, he's a local lad, brilliant entrepreneur, businessman, blah, blah, blah. I've not heard one person publicise that he's a tax dodger, and he's also been done for tax evasions for nearly 15 years. He also was involved in a cover-up 17 years ago, where he had a biochemical deal that went wrong with a bunch of Russian billionaires, where he was doing transactions over in Russia. Something then happened where it got exposed to the public. It killed a bunch of people. And ultimately, these things, they're not even being reported about. But as soon as you put the name Qatar, it's almost as if it's red flags.
Red flags,
but ultimately, you have to look at it from both sides. And look, Miguel Delaney, listen, he's respectable in terms of the detail and the context that he goes into. But like you've already said, Nuruddin, there's detail and context, and there's your personal opinion. You don't mix the two of them. You use Twitter to put your voice out there on what you believe in as your own person, because that's your platform. Those news articles that you write, they are not specifically for your opinion. They aren't. They are for what you report on or for what you know. Not try and ram down the throats of why Qatar's a horrible nation and this and yada, 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 and going on an absolute tangent. But you was happy to go over there when they were accommodating you for the World Cup and for your whole reporting, your accommodation, your food. You were singing their bloody praises on a bloody news report nearly I don't know how many months ago. Ultimately, as soon as you got there, you said, brilliant country, weather, hospitality's been perfect, everything. As soon as you come back, you slander them. Listen, Miguel Delaney, you won't be going anywhere near Qatar. And put it this way, if they ever come into the power at Manchester United, the powers will not let you report on Manchester United again, because they won't. And it's facts. And ultimately, your news outlet can slander Qatar for all they want because it's funded by two nations which were rivals in many cases to Manchester United, in Saudi Arabia and Russia, because one of them owned Chelsea and one of them owned Newcastle. And when those two takeovers happened, did anybody hear the Independent start slagging off about those two nations with involvements in football clubs? They didn't, no. And that's the context and that's the bottom story. Exactly. But as soon as it's one of their Middle Eastern rivals, so we know Saudi Arabia and Qatar, that sort of rivalry in the Middle East,
big time.
They want to throw them under the bus, don't they? But that's it anyway.
It's ridiculous. Listen, it's ridiculous. Saeed, look, Splasher say the whole outrage on Qatar is only down to Islamophobia because it's fully clean. Because no one is fully clean in the world of billionaires, so they can hide behind the issues. Saeed, did you say that? Can you see that Islamophobia and the lack of cultural understanding? The lack of cultural understanding.
But we see it in the World Cup, Nuruddin, though. This is the thing, though. We see it in the World Cup. You know what I mean? The portrayal of, you know what I mean, the World Cup. I get it. We understand the kind of humanitarian aspect of it. You know, we know what's going on. We know what happened. But then to kind of paint the way Qatar was painted, you know what I mean? It was full of that, you know what I'm saying? So for me, there's no kind of it's black and white, you know what I mean? It's almost as if now they just don't want to say the word in it, but in reality, we know what they are in it, and what they're saying is a load of joke. But I think for me, ultimately, Miguel Delaney's comments now are just becoming to that, and it's like nobody's pulling him on. Sky Sports are bringing him on. They're happy to kind of, you know, serenade everything that he's doing right now and speak the way he wants to speak on there. So, and every platform is giving him the opportunity to do that because, again, they'd rather have Jim Ratcliffe as Man United owner than the Qataris.
But Saeed, look at the second side to it, right? When there was those major links with Liverpool and Qatar, where was people sorting this outrage and where was all these human rights groups like Amnesty International? Where were they coming out and condemning all of these reports and stories?
Yeah.
They weren't, ultimately. And I don't want to hear this BS about it wasn't picked up by British media because it was in the Daily Mail and in the Daily Sun, for Christ's sake, every single Sunday where it was in the column.
At the end of the day, Tom, it's about the greenwashing, innit? People have sought out and looked at Ineos as a company, and it's called greenwashing. Basically, they try to cover up all of the damage they're doing to the universe because they're in the world of petrol and chemicals. They make other chemicals. They're multinational corporation. So their human rights abuses are not talked about because they can't link him to a country. So it is what it is because that's what it is. His tax avoidance is big, but big up HK and Music says, big up, bro. Radcliffe has a run on OG niece like the Glazers run on United. Poor football structure, buying the wrong players, firing manager every 2 years. Sounds pretty familiar. I don't want Jim. Well, that's just you, bro.
Apparently,
and not everything you said there is wrong, by the way. There's facts to most things what you've said
but
there.
You know what is done already? People think that he'll change at Man United, but if he's done the same principles at Nice, you know, they still not got a director of football, apparently. You know what I mean? And whatnot. So,
nope.
If there's some principles at Nice, why would I want that at my United? Like, I don't care. Even if it's at Nice, even if they're not meant to be competing, I don't care. You still have to be run as a football club well, and they haven't been. So, I wouldn't want that kind of that same the way the mismanagement. I don't want the mismanagement at Man United. I don't.
I mean, like, if you look at his manifesto when he tried to buy Chelsea, I mean, if I'm being perfectly blunt and honest with you, you could tell he'd done it on short notice and he didn't put really much thought into it at all because he used the same political language that he used in his proposal to Manchester United fans. I want to put the Manchester back in Man United. Listen, you ain't on Tinder, Jim. It's not your profile trying to fall in love with Man United fans, mate, because it's not going to happen. Ultimately, you state in the Chelsea agreement, you'll invest in the stadium. You want to invest in the men's, women's and youth facilities. You want to put the youth development at the heart of your project.
Yeah.
All I'm hearing right now is I want to put Manchester back into Manchester United. Like, mate, are you kidding me?
Like Trump.
What's the bigger project?
Coming out with Trumpian lines, bro.
Honestly,
I want to put the great back in the...
It's almost as if he's a political leader in some sort of category. I don't know what politics you follow, Tories or whatever, Sir Jim, mate. But listen, I know you've relocated to Monaco. I know you've relocated to Monaco, mate. But come on, cut some slack here. Ultimately, we need to know what the plan is. And I don't want to hear this BS of that you can't tell people what your plan is. Qatar's doing it. Listen, Saeed, even this Thomas Ziliakis, people aren't taking him seriously. At least he's giving people an idea of what he wants to do with the club. I'll invest in the stadium. Me and my group consortium will open fan engagement. We'll speak openly to fans and they can buy into our project and our proposal. But, Sir Jim, what are we hearing? Nothing. It's literally this. Silence.
At the end of the day, because listen, we know that if you're brown and black in this world, you're a danger. There's something misty about you, and you follow a different religion. If you're white man, British, Mancunian, Stalybridge guy, people are not going to look into you because you've got too many friends in the media in this country. But big up Sonic Quantum. You can find him on here. Tom Journalist 1. If you want to follow him, Tom Journalist 1 there on Twitter. Yeah, you can definitely find him on here, and you'll find him on other channels. Saeed, listen, at the end of the day, Miguel Delaney, for me, it's the message from Miguel Delaney from the United Real Therapy, from Saeed, Tom, and the rest of the therapy army. He should come on and speak for himself. Imagine that. So call him out and say, come on the podcast and say what you really mean. You should have a battle with him. I reckon that would be a good entertainment watch. Saeed, you know he's never going to do that, Saeed. He's not going, because you know I'll bin him straight away. I'll just ask him one question. Where's the articles you were writing about Jim Radcliffe and greenwashing and everything that Tom's listed? All these things are not secret, by the way. Fingertips. Just Google Jim Radcliffe. Jim Radcliffe dodgy. Just that. Say that's all the dodgy stuff that he's doing. What Ineos have done as a corporation globally. At the end of the day, he's lost his head. And Windy asked the question before. I think he's a reporter. But reporters don't mean that cannot have a column where they're doing opinion pieces. But you have to back up your opinion pieces. And they have to be objective. You cannot get in too much personal into what you're writing. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like somebody says, I genuinely 100% do think the guy is scared of Man United being dominant again. That's what he's scared of. That's what he's scared of. But listen, we're going to quickly move on to the Mason Greenwood thing. And I'll just say this quickly, just before Saeed goes. I'll just ask him. I know that you got 9 o'clock, you got a video coming out on Saeed TV.
Yeah.
There's many things that me and you have known because Manchester it's not that big.
Well,
we've known this throughout the years. We've known this. If you're into football and you go to the stadium, you know people, you get to know people, right? And people just talk about what's going on at the football club. There are so many times that we've heard stories about Mason Greenwood before anything has happened with whatever happened with his partner, or, I don't know if what people saying that they're back together now or whatever, but with his partner and everything else. At the end of the day, Mason Greenwood has been an absolute talent from the age of 9, 10. Everybody knew he was going to make it. Everybody knew what type of player that he was. It is one of those things that where somebody, Man United as a football club, since after Fergie left, the care and attention and the diligence of do care what young player needs. Player is being had. Everybody, all his coaches think he's amazing, and I think he's got to his head. Mason Greenwood lost the plot. The reports say, and it's simple. The reports basically talk about the amount of times, the parties that he's had. I actually know 1 or 2 people who was at the party, Saeed. And they were inviting other people I know, and people like, are you down to come to this party?
But you know what's mad about this one?
Nah.
The party that I was told about was a party, and this is why I kind of knew, is that, I think it was him and Brandon Williams were out drinking.
Facts.
And
we all knew
when I heard about it, yeah, exactly. When we heard about it, it was like, okay. And then after he didn't play the next game, and I was like, that's why it makes sense. And now again with all these parties and whatnot, it don't surprise me. It really, really do. So I knew one of his kind of not families, but someone who knew their nanny, because they used to live with a nanny. They didn't live with so they live with a nanny in a big house. Him and obviously Brandon and whatnot. So yeah.
So
man,
they lived in digs. I'll just say this quickly. So let me just explain what that is, Said. These are what you call digs. Yeah, digs. Right. Digs are where you go and stay with somebody, a woman, and usually it happens most football clubs. There's especially it's famous at Man United because when his mum couldn't look after Rashford because she was working 2 jobs and she had so many mouths to feed. Rashford went to the digs. He would stay, go school, and then be training at Man United. So Man United would take you. They'll take the talented. It happened to David Beckham. Beckham was originally from London. So if your parents can't afford for you to be there or bring you, they don't have the facility to drive you to training, to take you to games, all of that. Man United take care of that. And digs they put you up. They've got people who Man United pay, who then look after you, who are like guardians who act as parents. You live with them. They make sure that you turn up for training, you go into school, you're studying, and then just general report back your general behavior back to Manchester United. And that's what it is. That's what it is. So look it up, digs. Rashford went a year earlier, because his mum couldn't, too many mouths to feed, and he needed to eat all the time to be progressing and all the energy he needed to play football.
Yeah,
so that's what happened. Yeah. So that's why him and Brandon Williams are all at the same time.
They lived together, you know what I mean? And they had a nanny and whatnot. So yeah, listen, I think for me, this did. You know what? Fair play to Lauren Whitwell. It's a good report. It's a good article to read. If you don't get up.
Can you just explain to people how long have we known these stories about Mason Greenwood?
Yeah, a long while. But like I said, you know what I mean. I'm always one of them situations where, especially when you're on here, my platform. It's not our place. My platform is talk about football. I know there's things off the field that then can be talked about on the field. But for me, I'm one of them. Like, I don't publicize anything. I just, you hear about it, and then we kind of speak a bit amongst friends. But there's a lot of things that has gone on behind the scenes that.
I'll just add this to say the reason why we're talking about it, the reason why we come, because we don't shy away from anything. Now that the report is out, laying out what we've known, we can then have a comment on it. But we're not here to break any news on any Man United player anyway. We're not here to do that, because those things are not being double-checked and triple-checked. We know what the people who we talk to know, and we know Manchester's small, but we're not here. So now we're commenting. The reason why we're talking about it, people, is because specifically, it's because the report is out already. And it's things that we've known, things that even I protected Saeed. One of the reports says that a player has did this, done that to his partner, I went out and put a tweet out saying, how dare the newspapers insinuate. As Man United fan, that's what you always have to do. Back your players. I told on Saeed TV on a Straight Jacket podcast, I tell the story stopping Wayne Rooney doing mad stupidness, right? In a club, outside a club called Circle, back in the day in Manchester.
Yeah.
And I stopped him from the guy taking a photo with the old school Motorola phones, right? Where he was doing a madness. Players have always acted up, Saeed. But the biggest things that Fergie had away, that's why Fergie had every restaurant, numbers of every manager restaurant. He knew everyone, every club, club where footballers go. He knew every club, every bar, cafe. Fergie had spies, turned Manchester into an intelligence service for Fergie headquarters. That's what Fergie had.
Well, he had to do it because he knew.
He had to.
People got money, man. People have got money. People have got, it's easy for you to kind of say, yeah, you know what, you'll be okay now, and you know what I mean, and everything's gonna be good. Nah, mate, you still got to make sure you watch out for them and you find out what they're doing. You know what I mean, Nordin? You've got to. You can't be
the most important thing was that Fergie run a tight ship in it. He run a tight ship, and
of course.
That Fergie left. There was a vacuum. Woodward now is in charge of operations. Woodward is in charge. And Mason Greenwood, from the age of 9, I remember somebody telling me, Greenwood kid, he's gonna be amazing. Remember, Saeed, I was telling you about saying Greenwood.
Yeah.
This guy is sensational. I went to watch him, see it with my own eyes. I went to watch him, see him with my own eyes to go, oh my God, this guy is for real. But can you imagine that being pumped into you? Fergie's no longer there to run that tight ship. And everybody is kissing your ass. Could you imagine as a young player what that's going to do? And everybody's there hiding everything you do, but try to tell you, you're this, or you're going to be that, you're going to be that. And from the age of, because listen, Mason Greenwood talent, it's not like Laurie Wood said in the article, it's not like Beckham, it's not like Frank Lampard, it's not like Stephen Jones. No, it is undeniable. Gascoigne, Wayne Rooney, something that's natural. Zinedine Zidane, something that's natural. Natural talent. So when you have natural talent, you're not all here. Fergie's not there to run a tight ship. You've got Woodward as a clown and Glazers. What are you going to do? Manchester United have failed Mason Greenwood. Can I say that right now on the record? Mason Greenwood was failed by Manchester United because there were people there, literally, I would use the phrase, hiding the bodies for him.
You know, as well, I think there was a report as well. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't speak about it in the what do you call it?
No. To me, listen, a manager will always have to back the players. I understand that.
I'm saying to you, that's I don't. I'm just letting you know as a context was what was said in the report. You know, there was situations where he wasn't available for 2 games, and again, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't mention it and gave him time off. So there's a lot of stuff, man. But it shows you, man.
It's what you do, Saeed. But listen, it's what you do. You say to Mason Greenwood as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, listen, Mason, you've done this. It's not the 3rd time. It's not the 2nd. It's the 5th, 6th time. I don't know who you think you are, but this is Man United. You're bringing the club into distribute. You're bringing me and the players and the team into distribute. And listen, you're going to be gone. There's a consequence. But no, Ollie could not say that. You know why I couldn't say that? Because Woodward and the Glazers looked at Mason Greenwood sail on value and go cha-ching, ching, ching. Yep. There's no morality in football. But Fergie was powerful enough to say that and to do that. Ollie wasn't. That's the difference, people. So we don't mind publicly, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or any manager of Man United publicly backing a player. But behind the scenes, I want you ripping to that player. Because you know what I say?
Let me ask you a question.
Like the old times, everybody's got a phone nowadays.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you know what it is though as well. You got to remember now with this situation now, they're making an internal investigation now. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. So it's a very, very delicate situation now because he's still got 2 years left in his contract. I think he's got 2 years. I believe. I'm not sure if I'm right or not. And obviously, there's sources coming out that he wants to still play and whatnot, and he wants to be given a new chance. But I've always said from day one, there's more negatives than positives from Mason Greenwood coming back. You know what I mean? It's just not what Man United need at the minute. But it is a problem that we have right now, and I don't know. Nothing will get fixed anyway until the Glazers leave anyway. So
this is another quote. This is another bit about the concern of Carrington. Me and Saeed both knew about this, by the way, as well. because we know people. We know people. We knew about him going AWOL and not turning up. We've known about that as well.
Yeah.
And there's actually, it's not just him as well, Saeed, if we're going to be honest. There's some other Man United players as well.
Yeah, there's some other players,
There's some
That's
other
what they said in the
players
report as well.
Yeah, and who've done absolute madness at Man United. But to me, it shows you the negligence, because these are young people, Saeed. The negligence of Manchester United as an organisation, as a football club, Manchester United owned by the Glazers, and how things have been battled, where players were allowed to do whatever they want. So all of the times, people, whether it's Straight Jacket Podcast or whether it's on here, right, on Saeed TV or whether it's on here, I've been saying to you, players get away with murder at Man United. This is what I was talking about. I could never come out and name players, but this is, everybody was on their piss take, mate. Everybody.
Ronaldo said it as well, didn't he?
Everybody was on the piss take. Everybody was taking the piss. So at the end of the day, this is what happens. You know what happens? It's a Frankenstein monster mentality, Saeed. You hype up a kid from the age, undeniable talent. You actually, other clubs, Fergie would be extra hard on him, like he was on Giggs, like he was on Rooney, because of their talents. Extra hard on them because of their talent, because they're like amazing talents. And instead, everybody was literally licking his boots. And then this happened. So no wonder the consequences come. No wonder that it all falls apart. But where does it all go back to? The ownership, the people that they put in charge, and then everything trickles downwards. To me, it's a failure of the negligence on Manchester United side. That's what it is. And this is what needs to be talked about. Mason Greenwood is not going to be the last young, talented player, gifted player who's going to misbehave. He ain't going to be the first or he's going to be the last. This has happened throughout history of football. But you had people of character like Fergie who run a tight ship, who knew exactly where you were. Just to quickly tell the story. Lee Sharp and Giggs had a party with all these girls and everything. Guess who turned up? Knock on the door. Party's going on. Girls open the door and they're like, "Who are you?" Look at this like 50-year-old man and like, "Who are you?" He's like, "My name's
Who are you?
Ferguson. Get those two clowns to come downstairs now." Fergie went into that, said, "Everybody out."
Yeah.
Everybody out. That's the type of level of shit that he ran. So at the end of the day, people, this ain't holding Mason. It could be any player, but it's not just Mason Greenwood. I want to let you know that it's not just Mason Greenwood.
Not just
it's
him,
so many other players were all taking the biscuit. All of them were taking the biscuit.
There was a couple of players in there that they didn't mention, but it's there's an influence in it. You know what I mean? The lack
and you know that Laurie Whitwell has gone to those agents or those players or tried to get quotes from them, and they've said, "Laurie, we'll give you a story. Don't name them, please."
Yeah, facts. Obviously, he's the one that's highlighted now in the back. But I do think it's a good article because I think it just shows you what because obviously people perceive footballers as just they train, they do this, they do that. Like it's not, man. There's a reality.
They're fallible like every other human being. To me, I don't build players up to other than being human. I'm a human being. I'm complex. I'm full of contradictions at times, even though I always try not to be a contradiction. And by the way, people, while we're on here, talk about vindicating contradiction. He wears a wig. He's wearing a wig. Antonio Conte. Tara, mate. But we'll come back to that. But at the end of the day, I'll let Tom come in. Tom, Mason Greenwood ain't going to be the first, ain't going to be the last. But it's about how you treat and discipline young players.
Of course. And ultimately, the treatment and I guess the overwatch of a football club, a young player, or even your youth academy, like it comes from the ownership. I don't want to hear this about a manager like with Fergie, where he was basically the dictator in the case of he used to go to the players' houses or whatever and drag them out of bed or whatever, and like ultimately, that's 20 years ago now, and time moves on, and unfortunately, time doesn't stop for no man. So overall, we have to look at the basics of it all. And with what's happened with Mason Greenwood, like all this saga of he's innocent until proven guilty and things like that. Listen, everybody can make their own opinion of it. We know what we heard and we know what we saw.
Yeah, exactly.
and ultimately that just paints the whole picture for a lot of people's minds anyway. And I don't care who it is. If he ever steps foot on a Premier League football field, mate, all I'm going to say to Mason Greenwood is be prepared, lad. Be prepared, because I think even for his own security, to even walk in any stadium, whether it be a home or away, be very, very careful in terms of your own security and your own personal sort of, I would say, physical side of you, because ultimately we know the hate that he's going to get. We spoke on here a couple of months ago where we had the thing with
Oh,
I don't know. Tom will come back. Saeed,
Zuma and BCA.
Yeah.
No, we look at it and I'll go on.
Yeah. The point I was saying, big up Windy. You just cut out, Tom, for a minute. Windy says, before the abuse allegation, I believe Greenwood is autistic. Listen, by the way, those rumors are there, but I'm not a qualified psychologist or or therapist. I'm not a doctor to diagnose anybody. But those rumors are they've been there for a long, long time about Mason Greenwood, that he is actually on the spectrum. Now, everybody can be on the spectrum, but we know a lot of people on the spectrum, Saeed. I'm on the spectrum. I'm neurodiverse, but I don't abuse or misbehave like in that way. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, there are a lot of people who are autistic and don't behave in a cruel way to people and don't start having parties and doing what they're doing. They don't. No, it's something might be to their condition. They don't behave the way people behave. But there are a lot of autistic people who are incredible in human beings, and their behavior is second to none. So you can't just use that as an excuse. But on that one there, it's a rumors that's been running for years and years and years. Years and years and years. For me, no, I don't believe somebody should be... because they got caught inhaling a balloon. I don't think so. I think somebody needs to have a word with him about his behaviour and conduct, because he's a Man United player. And by the way, the difference is that some of your biggest heroes at Man United were doing a madness. But in those days, Saeed, there was not one of these, was it?
And this is the thing, though. There wasn't no phones. But these players, I think, for me, they're not self-aware, man. That's the problem with these young players. When they've got the money, when they've got the lifestyle, they're not very, very self-aware. And I don't know if that's not been trained by them by the club. You know what I mean? I don't know if they get that sort of training. Don't know what they do, but they need to realize they are role models. They are people that, fans look up to. Whether they're first team, whether they're squad player. You know what I mean? When you step on that football pitch, you are born into this Man United star, whether you like it or not. So I feel like for me, with the situation with players right now, you know what I mean? They need to just be careful of what they do, what they say, how they come across now. They have to be careful. This world is not forgiving, man. The world right now is not forgiving. There's a cancel culture. There's a feeling of, what, you make a mistake, it's finished for you, So, there's loads of people out there. Look at the video with Kyle Walker, Luckily that wasn't blown out to be out of proportion, but you've got to be careful what you do with your private life, man, because it will impact your pitch. And I don't know what's going on with Sancho, but obviously we probably won't ever know. But again, that was something
they've handled. I think in the circumstances, in the circumstance with the Sancho situation, they've handled it well, because they've kept it contained and they've kept it in house. There's not been any leaks or rumors or anything like that that's been floating around like it's for this reason or that reason. Like, there isn't even anybody that's coming up with any theories as to what's actually happened. So ultimately, I think they have handled that sort of situation well. But just on that point that you said, Saeed, about a player's personal life and everything like that, it took Ralph Ragnick to come in for nearly 4 to 5 months just to employ Man United's first ever sports psychologist. We haven't had a sports psychologist at this football club who speaks to players about their emotions or what's going on in their personal lives, gets involved with the players, knows the personality behind the person, and ultimately who wears a mask at Man United and who doesn't. And overall, there is 2 lives to sort of life. There's your playing life and there's your personal life. You go to training, you go home with you go to training or whatever, do your business there, whatnot, work, etc. Go home, be with your family. That should be the motto of Man United. You should be a family man. It's all about family integrity. And ultimately, you do have young players that come through. These sort of scenarios and situations perk up, like with what's happened with Mason Greenwood, who, unfortunately, the circumstances happen because the talent that he has he could have been that number 9 that we need potentially right now in this team.
God. That's what hurts me.
And overall, this is what hurts a lot of Man United fans. And trust me, it'll be hurting him deep down. People think about this like he doesn't have any emotions. He is human as well. And I'm sure now, where he looks at all this publicity that's happened, where his name gets thrown around everywhere, he's getting videoed and pictured in blooming petrol stations. Like, that's for him for life. That's forever. That's it. Effectively, that's his jail sentence. In what people will say.
In the public court.
In the public court, that's it, Nuruddin. Yeah. But ultimately, we look over it all. Will he ever play for Man United again? No.
I find it very difficult.
I would find it very difficult, even with the Glazer family in charge. I would find it very difficult how they can put him in even just in the squad or even in the reserves. Because you'll have backlash from the women's team, no doubt. You'll have all the different supporters groups that will have the backlash. And third and finally, a lot of the sponsors ain't going to want somebody who's been in that much media spotlight wearing one of their jerseys that has their logo on it. So ultimately, it's going to blow your sponsors away. And overall, he needs to just at the end of the day, Man United need to disengage from Mason Greenwood just as much as he does us.
He won't though.
He won't though. That's the thing, Said. He's on a paid contract for 2 years where he can just do nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Let me just go to my last question, Saeed, before he breaks his fast.
Yeah, please.
Saeed, I'll say this quickly. I'll say this to you quickly. Yeah. The only way that I can see Mason Greenwood coming back into this football club, if him and his partner, both of them come up and fess up and talk, lay everything bare, what's been going, why those footage was leaked, what type of relationship have they had, where they are, and where they are right now, them being together. Where are they in terms of emotionally? Well, has there been abuse? Has things been reconciled? So it's not just Mason Greenwood, people. There's a victim here. From everything we saw, we can't unsee those photos. We can't unhear what we heard, right? So they have to come out as a joint, come out and break it down and explain, and then look at the getting help side, right? Where they're both getting help together and they love each other. That's the only way. So this idea that Mason Greenwood is just going to come and apologize and give complaints, it's not happening. Mason Greenwood have to, because they've let aspect of their private life into the public life. They've got to open it out now. And they've got to let professionals, other people who are in that world.
You know why they do that, Nuruddin? Because end of the day, they're doing TikToks at the minute. I don't know if you've seen some TikToks that are flying around. They're doing videos together.
But we don't know. Do we know that? Do we know that it's now? Could it be videos from long time ago?
Apparently they're saying it's recent, man. They're saying it's recent. So, you know what I mean? And obviously, it's being leaked from her side. So not his side, obviously. It's been leaked from her side. So, yeah, man, it's not good, man. It's not good. I'll be real with you. It's not a good situation. But again, I don't know if they do that interview. Maybe he thinks, you know what? I'm gonna come out without saying anything.
Do you know any other way, Saeed? Do you know any other way of Mason Group coming out? Do you understand my point that I'm making? The only way that I can see, if it's a joint thing, where they're breaking it down and they're saying, this is the type of relation we've got. This is what we were. We went through this together. This is what we do. We abuse each other. And then they say that, like, everything's laid bare. Then people can go, okay, you know what? They've had a toxic relationship.
It's still not right, but I get what you mean.
But no, it's the idea that people are saying it's just Mason Greenwood. No, there is the other person involved in all of this. It's not just him.
I know what you mean. But at the same time, I just think any sort of a situation for me, nothing will outdo it because it's already out there. It's, when you're scarred, I think my United fans, maybe most of the people, I don't know, including me, I'm just kind of scarred by it. And I think that's what I'm saying. We all are. We're all scarred by it. No positive will outdo the negatives. And that's simply...
Saeed, let me just play this scenario to you. Take the name Manchester United out away in an association with Mason Greenwood and take him being a footballer on multi-million pounds per year. You take that away from him, where would he be sitting right now? Because he wouldn't be sitting in his multi-millionaire mansion, would he? We know where he'd be sitting. He'd be sitting probably in H&P Strangeways. That's where he'd be sitting right now. And ultimately, that's all that you need to know around this whole case. Because overall, it's mismanagement, Nuruddin, and it's mishandled. Because if it was any of us on this stream here, where would we be? We'd be languishing in jail and people would say, throw away the key at him.
That's it. Listen,
But
at the end of
because
the day,
he's got a platform and a profile, Nuruddin, that's
listen,
the end of
Saeed,
it. But
Love, always,
Yeah.
people. Everyone, man. I'm gonna
Big
go
up,
to my
Saeed.
family house now.
Yeah,
Love,
enjoy,
man.
enjoy.
Nuruddin, we'll catch up soon.
Yeah,
Come
man,
on.
big up.
Peace.
It's listen, it is what it is, Tom. And the biggest thing we can talk about this till the cows come home. For me, I can't see Mason Greenwood, right? I know that he's a multi-million-pound footballer, and the resale price and everything like that is a massive thing for football. And we know that in football there's no morality and there's no morals. But for me, unless he comes out, they both come out and break down what's been going on in their relationship, and they're open and honest and candid about it. I can't see him coming back to Man United, honestly. We've been burnt. Like you said, any of us throw away the key. Big up to Alien Tenor says, the bastard Glazer's damage rips into our souls. Of course it does. I've got it. When toxic vultures own the football club, they infect every aspect of the football club. And that's where it's been. Tom, I've saved my favorite topic for you. I think those of you who are like, keep Mason Greenwood, this and that, at the end of the day, that's your own values and your own morals. We're not judging you. Everybody's got a different opinion. We respect everybody's opinion. But it is what it is, right? Tom, we know the right-wing press, and we know that Marcus Rashford has been... it's a guy who's had a target on his back for a long time. When he came out and literally injected himself into a national discourse in terms of... and him understanding himself as a young footballer, at the age as a young footballer with a working class mother who's raising 4 or 5 children with 2 jobs, she couldn't feed all of them. So he remembered that pain in his stomach. And then he's like, I don't want it. Now that I've got a platform, I've got to speak for the people that can't speak for themselves. And Rashford spoke for the children and embarrassed the government, literally found out the government for what they were. From that day onwards, the right-wing press have had a target on his back. That's why we always said, at all costs, protect Marcus Rashford. Any opportunity they can come and lay into Rashford, they'll come out and lay into him. So I'm going to ask you this, Tom. Ole Gunnar Southgate, which the therapy RB coined. not me, Tom. You didn't do it. I didn't do it. The chat coined that. It's all about the chat. Topics are everything. Even match day moments TV. The topics are we've discussed Miguel Delaney. We've talked about the Mason Greenwood. We've now moving on to Rashford and how certain people have had it out for him. So any excuse to get a Marcus Rashford. But Ole Gunnar Southgate literally opened the door for the vultures to come and attack Marcus Rashford when he came out and said, "Oh, we hardly ever see him." Excuse me, Southgate, you're a bit of a revisionist, aren't you? You dropped him because he wasn't on form for a year and a half. You didn't pick him for a long time. You then just had him for the World Cup. He was one of your best players in that squad. You drop him for the most crucial game and then bring him on 5 minutes to go. What the hell are you on about? What world is this, Tom? Speak to me.
Well, even if you want to categorise it anyway, whenever Marcus Rashford's not been 100%, he's still chosen him and he's still picked him. But the thing with Gareth Southgate is, and I don't want to hear this BS and everything because it happens with most managers, especially at international level. They have their select few favourites. They have the players of whom they could be on, kings of the world and top of the world. They've just won a Champions League, or they've had that pedigree, that status at their club level, or they could have been relegated with a team. It doesn't matter in Gareth Southgate's eyes. He goes off for the people who he believes in terms of their personality and in terms of them as a player. And overall, look at the basis of it, Nuruddin. Ivan Toney, for example, had been so highly rated for the whole season, irrespective of the FA charges that are against him, for the whole season, and he took Callum Wilson with him to the World Cup instead of Ivan Toney. And ultimately, what did Callum Wilson actually do at the World Cup? Nothing. And this is where I bring it back to the Marcus Rashford situation. Gareth Southgate has always had this critique and criticism because he knows he cannot fit Marcus Rashford and Raheem Sterling in the same starting lineup. He knows he can't. And that's the full reason of it, because Bukayo Saka's taken the other wing. So ultimately, out of those two players, he has to pick one, and he's going to piss the other one off. And that's the ultimate reason. And Raheem Sterling will always be Gareth Southgate's left-sided player that he will always want to use, because overall, we don't have the basis to look at it and say, Marcus Rashford, well, is a central striker, is a left winger, is a right winger, because Gareth Southgate's always used this coined the name of, we don't know his position. He's a striker, he's an inverted forward, he's a left winger. He's so many different things. But your boy who was balling out, scoring free kicks at the World Cup, you didn't even pick him in the next round. Like, it makes no sense at all with Gareth Southgate. And like you said, Nudging with his background and everything with his mother and everything, and we spoke about earlier anyway, where we characterise it with players when they're a lot younger and being pulled away from their families due to certain circumstances. But overall, I mean, the process of it's just so disrespectful to certain players. And you chucked him off of the bus as soon as he missed that penalty at the end of the day. As soon as he missed that penalty in that World Cup, same thing with Bukayo Saka and same thing with Sancho, mate. You ripped those three players off not because they ballsed it up, but they were done under the pressure. And ultimately, they were all three young players at the time, and they're more experienced from it. And all three of those players have come back better from that experience. We look at Saka, we look at Rashford. Sancho's getting there. So ultimately, we look at the basics of it all. Marcus Rashford is a talented football player. And do you know what? I'm happy, I'm happy he's not gone there. Because what would he have done? Sat on the bench, travelled all those air miles to all the to Italy and this, that, the other. Mate, he needs a rest. I'm happy that he's pulled out of the internationals. I'm happy. I would have been a lot happy if players like Sabitzer wouldn't have gone for the reasons, because we need them. But these players, mate, they're carrying air miles. And ultimately, we've already spoken about this before with Europa League, mate. Ten Hag has had to put these policies in place. But Gareth Southgate, he doesn't care about that. He doesn't believe in that. He picks players on preference, not performance. And that's been completely nullified in terms of his team selection. Because, like I say, I don't care if a player's got FA rules over him, betting, gambling rules, or whatever. Ivan Toney should have gone to that World Cup, no matter what. He should have been one of those three strikers that he should have taken. Minimum. But we look at the facts of it, Nuruddin. What has Gareth Southgate won as a manager? Nothing. Zilch. His only claim to fame in club football and club management was at where? Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough ain't Man United, ain't City, ain't Liverpool, ain't a historical club or a success in the modern day era. It's none of those things. It's zilch. And Gareth Southgate, mate, you got the job on a technicality because Sam Allardyce balls the job up. That's the only reason why you're sat where you are. And ultimately and overall, I've said this before about the FA, and I'll say it again till I'm blue in the face. Until England ever win an international tournament, I don't ever want to hear an England manager say, oh, we've got the best young generational talent. Right, you've got the best young generational talent. Gareth Southgate, prove us wrong then. Win something with Raheem Sterling, Harry Kane, Saka. Come and win something with these players then. Because even with those players, you've won zilch. But you have players like Rashford on the bench, mate, you can't be asked to bring on. Because why? You're tactically inept and you don't have any tactics. You don't have any, different transitions of ways of playing. Because why? You ain't a modern day coach. You ain't a manager. Ultimately, you could take Gareth Southgate out of that seat, and you could put Steve Holland in the seat.
Tom, I think Tom's battery just died, people. Oh, my internet's just gone. Big up Jarvis. Listen, big up everybody in the chat. Can you let me know how many we've got, by the way, how many likes we've got on the video, because it's been a brilliantly jam-packed show for you today. I'm fasting. I should be breaking my fast now. And look what's happening. Come on, people. This is the least you can do. Greenwood and Mrs. are free to do whatever they want to owe us. We are free to take a stand, never accepting coming back to our club because of the abuse we heard with our own ears. No, 100%, I'm with you, Jarvis. What I'm saying to you is that the only scenario is that if they will come and do this PR stuff with the club and whatever. That's the only thing I'm saying. It's not just him coming out, it's her coming out, because she's the victim. She is the victim in this. There's a victim in this. And she's the victim. And people stay with people who abused them for 60, 70 years. People stay with them. Stay with them. That's what they do. Rashford is a great guy for the whole country. The field. Forget the media. Partgate, call him long. Pep Southgate is a fraud. Southgate picked Sterling over Rashford. Say no more. It is what it is, guys. Honestly, Southgate for me has come out and showed himself to be the clown that he is. Honestly, by him opening the door for Marcus Rashford, and they go, Marcus Rashford can't. And then you got Muppets on radio saying Marcus Rashford has sat on a plane, so Marcus Rashford can't sit down if you're injured and can't have a couple of days off to go to New York with his missus. Why can't he do that? Why can't he do that? It's the same thing, innit? Oh, Pogba had a little dance. Oh, you can't be injured if you had a little dance. It's surreal. Absolutely surreal. Please let me know how many likes you got on the video, people. How many likes? Because I think we've gone through really lots of thick, heavy stuff for you. Jammed it into one show. For me, Southgate is... I don't... And you know what? I say to you now, if Rashid tomorrow retire from international football, I'll clap him. I will absolutely love it. I will absolutely love it. Like I said, Rashid, because of his own compassion and love for the children in this country, has created enemies for himself who will jump at every little criticism. And now they're saying, going along to New York if you're tired. You can't, you're injured. You're on a plane if you're injured. Huh? What the hell are they on about? It's crazy how they're attacking him. It's crazy how they're attacking him. I hope the likes of Rashid, Tamari, Bellingham, Marcus, everyone's regular disrespect to Southgate, choose not to play for England. Honestly, I hope they don't. Honestly, I'm not lying to you. Just remember what he said about Smalling. I'm sorry, but no in the hell way. Chris Smalling, in my own eyes, is 5-6 times better defender than Maguire. That's just me personally. It might be something different for you, but that's just me personally. And look what he said about Maguire. So what he said about Chris Smalling. Disrespect to Chris Smalling, mate. I don't know. Listen, honestly, Windy, big up to you. I think the FA called Southgate, that's why. But listen, I don't care. At the end of the day, for him to come out and say, oh, I've not seen him, we don't see him. You've just had him for a month. The man is on fire. You've had him for a month at the World Cup. And in your most crucial game, you give him 5 minutes. And then you played a guy who flew back to England because of his house got burgled or whatever happened to him. He came back, that's Sterling. You played him more, and then it just don't make sense. It just don't make sense to me. Big up to you, brother. Big up. Listen, I've still not got sorted out the thing. 2 people let me down who said they're going to draw me the thing. But yeah, I'm still repping, bro. You know I'm still repping. I'm always repping. Big up to you, bro. But it is what it is. Don't like Southgate treated Rashford World Cup. I'm not fussed about England while he's there. No, we're not. I'm not fussed about England, full stop. I'm fussed about Man United. I will always put football or my club before anybody else, mate. And I think all players should do that. 100% I agree with you, Susie. Southgate started the madness of Foden left early with the injury. What a joke. Probably would have did mints like Tony did. Exactly. Thank you. He still kept Luke Shaw there because Luke Shaw it's like, he said, why are you keeping him there? Send the guy. If I was Luke Shaw, I'd say, listen, I can't play the next game. See you later, I'm gone. But one good thing that's come out of this now, we don't play till Sunday, and everybody should be back. Majority of our players should all be back now after tomorrow. The ones who should be playing tonight, and that's it. After that, they should be back at United. Tom's battery's died, I think. He's trying to charge his battery. But big up to every one of you. Please let me know how many likes we've got on the video. If we don't have at least 100, I'm fasting. It's Ramadan. He's just taking the mick. You're just absolutely taking the mick, people. You're taking the absolute biscuit. So please let me know how many are. Yeah, Stockholm Syndrome, that's what it's called already. Yeah, of course, that's what it's called. The British media going on about Qatar when most of these businesses here are not okay with to own Man United is a joke. Of course it is. It's always, Susie, we know their agenda. This is what I'm saying to you. I don't think he knows what he's saying. Now, to me, I want to hear from the victim. To me, it's not about what Mason Greenwood does. To me, if we're going to do anything, I want to hear what happened, what's really going on, because we don't really know what's going on. Rashford swerve England till start. Listen, he should swerve at full stop. Seriously, guys, there's 82 likes. Wow. It's not even 100. We've had nearly 200 of you in here. So it's not even 100 likes. Wow. Do I have to keep repeating it and saying it and saying it? That's an absolute joke, honestly. It's a joke. I need to go and open my fast. That's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to get to 100 likes, at least, for this jam-packed show we did for you today with Tom and Saeed and everybody. Miguel Delaney is a journalist who writes for The Independent. He's a reporter for The Independent. I don't know if you know, brother Zagon, is that he's been blocking a lot of Man United fans who want Qatar. And he's literally made it a personal thing about his hatred for Qatar. And as a journalist, he's not being objective whatsoever. He's not being objective whatsoever. Talking about it's the worst thing that could ever happen ever in this world is Man United being owned by Qatar, making it out like that, coming out with statements. And then him saying the fact that, oh, the Glazers have been good owners because he hates Qatar that much. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Oh, the pundits are not going to take it at all. They're not. They're all like, because all of them support different clubs. So, of course, they're not going to take it. They're not going to take it. Of course, they're not. So that's who Miguel Delaney is. And the show we looked at, we said that he's no longer somebody that we can be trusted to be a journalism, to be objective, because his propaganda, he's literally doing a massive propaganda on massive platforms against the Qataris, while Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have got multiple charges against them, multiple human rights abuses by Ineos. This is how it is. I would love to try fasting for a month, even though I'm not a Muslim. I feel for cleansing and sharpening your senses. How is it? It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah, spiritually, it's an amazing thing to do. And I would encourage people. Qatar plan to mold Man United, Paris Saint-Germain, Sporting Braga into one European football club, most powerful multi-club network. Duncan Castles. Well, Duncan Castles is running propaganda and interference for the Jim Ratcliffe camp. So, of course, he's going to come out and say that. Of course, he's going to come out and say that. That's what he's going to say. So, he's another dodgy one that I don't know. And if Qataris do buy Man, how do you see the English pundits taking it? They're all gonna start crying and moaning and coming out. I've said it, bro. I've answered the question. They're all going to come out and go, this is a disgrace. They're all going to be, all of a sudden, all of them human rights lawyers. All of them are. Because I never saw them coming out against City. Never saw them coming out against Chelsea. Never saw them coming out against Saudi Arabia. So you know, innit? You know. When it's Man United, it's a different... You have to judge Man United in a different lens, which is ridiculous. Please tell me we got to 100 likes, people. The significance is seen in Mr. Predominance, preeminence, and financial muscle of Dubai. Okay, no worries. Everyone wants United to remain the same and not to be contented, but thrive from United's failure. Exactly. Splash. I think that's the comment of the day, Splash. I think that's the comment of the day. Honestly. Yeah. Big up Sagon says, oh, he's that guy. He's the scam. VAR on him. You will see he's paid and to do this. Besides, he's not really a United fan, just a scout for another team against us. 100%, bro. I don't know, honestly. It's a disgrace. It is. Yeah, man. God bless you all, man. Nuruddin, is the Kane situation changed since Conte got sacked? No. I think Kane, to me, it's about whether he wants to win trophies. For me, Kane should just go to Daniel Levy, say, listen, 70 million for me. If I want to go to Man United, I go to Man United. I still would sign another 2 strikers, by the way. Yes, I do like that youngster from Denmark. He's a United fan. And I do like this young kid, 18-year-old from Brighton. He's doing incredible. But let's not overhype people, because we've got a tendency to overhype people. I think Harry Kane, whether Conte stayed or not, had a decision to make in the summer. Whether Conte stayed or not, Jarvis Cocker, I think. But we'll do a show. Let's do a show, eh? Let's do a show, me and you. Let's do a show. Let me know when you're free, and then we'll do a show on the Harry Kane, bro. Big up. Have we got 100 likes? That's the least we can do, people. Please keep subscribing to the channel. We're 110 away from 7,000. Here, we don't shy away from the big topics, and we don't shy away from the big debates. Big up to Tom. Make sure you're following Tom Journalist 1. And make sure you go and check out Saeed TV. He's got a video out on Mason Greenwood at 9 o'clock. And we've just done the Straight Jacket podcast as well. So go and check that out. And go and follow Tom Journalist 1 on Twitter. But big up to every one of you. Keep liking the video, please. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. I said to Nuruddin, all the other YouTubers on OT, that Qatari get United, all these journals won't be allowed at OT. There you go. You did say that. 100% you did say that. Let's hope, inshallah, man, inshallah. Would he prefer to sign Kane or others? To me, I would take Kane if we sign 2 other strikers as well. I'll take Kane, but we have to sign 2 other strikers as well, me personally. Yeah. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. We should see that. Let's hope. Nuruddin, next show, can I come on, please? Yeah, if you want to, yeah. You know me, yeah. You want to come on? No problem, you can. But the only thing, you got to show your face, Ariane Rashid. You have to show your face. Qatar want Braga as our feeder club. Love the idea. Well, it is what it is. Sandro Martinez, big up Argentina. I want Ivan Toney and Evan Ferguson. We could sign Holland next season. We need 3 strikers. Move Martial. Workhorse. All right, that's your opinion. No problem, bro. Just send me the link when you do a late night streams past 9 every week. It's okay. Brilliant. Right? We'll do it. We'll do one 9:30. We'll do a 9:30 show maybe. Wednesday, or maybe we'll do 10:30 on Wednesday night. We'll do that. Guys, please like, subscribe. Those of you watching this video late, just quick roundup. We talked about Miguel Delaney and how he's lost his head. He used to be a respectable journalist. Now he's lost his head by claiming the Glazers are good owners for Man United. To me, you've absolutely destroyed everything that you ever stood for. And me and you are parted ways. And I'm always objective. I like to be fair. There are things for you to, concerns about Qatar to have about sports washing, 100%. But then no billionaire's clean. No billionaire. And you have to be objective and put out all the other bidders as well, what their human rights abuses as well. And no government is better than any government in this world. There ain't. I'm telling you now, governments, just some of them just know how to hide their dirty deeds. That's how it is. But the videos are out there. We've done the videos about the moral hypocrisy of Western media. We've done it. All of it is there, people. Big love to every one of you. Happy Iftar if you're breaking your fast, people. I'm going to go do the same. Take care. Love and light. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care, people. Love. Win, lose or draw, Glazers out, bankers out. Smash a like on the video, please, people. Smash a like. You're only 16. Okay. Well, that means then we're gonna only can put you in the shows where we're not effing and blinding and swearing a bit too much. But big up to you, Ariane Rashid. Yeah, you can come on the channel. You before you come on, you've got to show me your face so I know who you are. And then if you can come on the channel, then you don't have to show everybody else on the chat your face. But before the show starts, I need to see you, because there are too many people on this who want to sabotage the channel by showing their things. You know if you know. Those of you who know. I'm aiming Manchester United to win trophies next season. Hey, Ed, I'm aiming for Man United to win trophies next season. Let's hope, people. Let's hope. To be honest, Nuruddin, I dim you if you lot swear. I've heard it all before. There it is. He's heard it all before. He's heard it all before. Win, lose or draw, glaze us out, bank us out. Please keep smashing a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you don't already subscribe. Hit the notification button because it lets you know when we're next live. Let's go, people. Let's go. Let people know about the channel. Become part of the community. Take care. Peace.